Hi, I got your offer and I'm not interested. Yeah, I saw your offer, not interested. Ugh, why is nothing working? Well, let me tell you guys what's probably going on is you're listening to a lot of podcasts and hearing that people are doing paid ads, they're doing driving for dollars, they're pulling the tax delinquent list, they're sending direct mail, they're cold calling, and they're actually sending text messages. You're suffering from what I would call shiny object syndrome on your path to build wealth with real estate investing, whether you're wholesaling that deal, aiming to make $10,000 as a finder's fee, or if you're going to actually buy it yourself and renovate it yourself and put $50,000 in your pocket through the BRRRR strategy, as well as a cash flowing rental in your portfolio. So let me explain to you guys what it actually takes on a focused effort. The reason why focused efforts matter is because with every marketing strategy, a lot of legit businesses are out there. You can actually understand what it takes to be successful with a marketing strategy. So for direct mail, for example, if you're driving for dollars, we always say you need to find 500 rundown homes and send mail to them at least 6 times each. Now that would take like 4 to 6 months. And people typically have a rundown house. That doesn't mean they're going to call you as soon as they receive a letter from you. It's been run down for a long time. It's very likely that something in their life will happen where they need to sell it. They won't be able to market that house with a realtor because it would never qualify for a loan. It's just not in good enough shape and they don't have the money to fix it up themselves. So they need an investor to purchase that with a cash offer. But it's just like what I'm trying to say is a lot of people send 10 properties mail for a couple months, they don't get a deal and they get really frustrated and try something else. But they end up just kind of spinning their wheels and doing all this effort and they abandon mail when they know it takes 6 months to get results from mail. But that basically means the 2 months they did spend, they're going to get zero ROI from because they're not continuing the effort. And there's a cold calling challenge going on right now that I'm hosting. We just finished week 1. So on the cold calling side, you're looking at about 33 hours of focused effort to secure one deal. And the formula that I'm talking to you guys about is, you can't cold call 3 times and expect to land a deal. It takes about 200 phone conversations to even make one deal. And if you guys want to have 200 conversations, you're going to need to call. I mean, you can make 100 calls an hour with the DealMachine dialer. That will result in maybe like 6 to 12 actual people who answer and pick up. And so altogether, it's about 33 hours of focused time. So on average, the wholesalers might make 10,000, 15,000 per deal if you're more experienced. So you just have to roll up your sleeves and network like crazy. Network meaning calling people who likely are motivated. And so that's exactly what you guys need to do rather than trying 5 different strategies a little bit. Go deep on one strategy a lot. All the strategies actually work, but we actually know that if you just do a little bit of everything, that does not work. You need to go deep enough on one. And if you talk to an experienced company that says, "Oh yeah, we usually spend about 1,000 calls in order to get a deal." Well, listen, if you're brand new, I would just double that because that will account for your lack of experience. They have all this experience, they don't make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, but just give yourself a fighting chance by giving yourself like a buffer by doubling what their numbers are. So I wanted to go over to the DealMachine Facebook group because they have homework submissions. A lot of people have started making these calls this week for the very first time. And so I wanted to share with you guys what people are actually saying. Maybe you're part of the challenge and you'd like to see how others are dealing with this, or you are wanting to join the challenge. That's not too late. And we're going to run multiple of these every 2 months, right? So if you're motivated now, come on, join in for week 2. You could just Google DealMachine Cold Calling Challenge, and that Google top link will say like generate your first deal, and you just sign up and you'll get invited to our live call. And by completing the homework, it's actually free to join. And you can actually be submitted to win $1,500 of prizes. One big prize is going to be like a DealMachine Pro account. And that's going to give you the ability for a whole year the chance to win that for free every time you submit homework. So here's in the Facebook group. Tracy Thompson said, it's his first day cold calling. I even feel less apprehensive about calling. I even got cursed out and accused of being a scammer. I'm looking forward to doing it tomorrow. Listen, I've made 1,500 calls in the last couple of months. There was not one single person who cursed me out or called me a scammer. So I feel like sometimes these negative things are like fun and we won't feel like we need to share them. In my case, is like, that's really not happening. So yeah, he made 112 calls on 53 properties. He talked to 13 of the 53 properties, which was a 24% contact rate. Pretty good. Gideon says week 1 of cold calling, October 9th through the 15th, he actually made 287 calls on 112 properties and made 27 connections, which was a 24% contact rate. Tony Stewart says, here's my results after calling last week and today. He's on vacation, but wanted to get the reps in. Way to go, Tony. And he actually worked from his hotel room. So that's amazing commitment. That's a really great example, because we always come up with these excuses of why we can't do things. But when you see somebody making it work no matter what, it tells us we're really just creating excuses for ourselves. So he made 238 calls on 141 properties, connected with 27 people that picked up the phone, which was a 19% contact rate. Okay. This person, they actually had fewer calls, contact rate 11%. And I was trying to figure out, it's like, hey, did you maybe scrub the do not call list? Oh yeah. So they scrubbed the do not call list. But you know, that probably hurt their connection rate. So real quick, the do not call list was kind of created, I think 20 years ago, because if people were getting sales calls that they didn't want, the federal government created a list people could opt into. About 70% of people, of numbers out there, have opted into that. And so if you're selling something like a water heater or a roof, or if you are like asking to list their house as a real estate agent providing a service, that is soliciting somebody to buy something from you. And so that's illegal. But as investors, we're not asking anyone to buy anything from us. We're actually just making an offer on their property, which there's case law out there that continually supports our ability to do that. So that's why we allow calling the do not call list as investors when actually making offers on properties, by the way. I would say about 40% of our users go ahead and scrub the DNC list anyway, but it will hurt that contact rate a bit, but it still is effective, just not as effective. So I'm not an attorney, but you guys can always contact your own attorney if you're curious about that. And I think we've even got a blog post. If it's not out now, it's like on the DealMachine blog in the next day. That should be really, really helpful to point out the exact case law. I think actually, Samantha, I've got the link right here. Yeah, here's a preview link. So here's some of the exact case law. So Keller Williams, they are real estate agents. They recently got in trouble for not using the right language. So what they said was, hey, I saw your house was not listed on the MLS anymore. Hey, when are you ready to interview real estate agents? So that's not okay, because agents are selling a service. So that really got them in trouble. They had a $40 million settlement. Here's one, Janus versus Home were on offer. And the court held that the calls seeking to, buy the house was totally fine and within the law. And here's Pepper versus GVG Capital. This is also a Texas case in 2023 that supports there's no issue with calling to make an offer on the house. You just need to be careful not to actually offer. And then here, I just realized I wasn't sharing that tab. So here's that blog post that you guys can go out and find. The Keller Williams case that was an issue, home run offer, and also GVG Capital that were okay as real estate investors making offers, by the way. So let me go back now to the Facebook group. Just review a few more cold calling challenges. So yeah, 128 properties were called on, 35 answered, 25% connection rate. And there was one comment in here that I really wanted to share with you guys. This is the one from Ahmed Raha. Ever since I started making these calls, I'm starting to feel more confident about this business and know that it's going to work out. He had to stop making excuses and constantly lying to himself by saying that he's going to start tomorrow. And he just took the step, which is always the hardest step. And now so many opportunities are coming in. So really, really great post and self-assessment of what's going on there, Ahmed. So I'm so glad the cold calling challenge is helping you. I mean, it's a bit too early to say we've got a deal already. We're on day 6. But the good thing is if you miss the first week, you can join the second week. Just Google DealMachine Cold Calling Challenge, and we'll help you guys get a great deal. So let me actually show you guys what a great deal might look like. I had a really good example of one today. And this is a house I bought back in February, and I bought it for $180,000. The seller had it listed for 6 months. They just wanted to get rid of it. We did about $10,000 worth of work on the house, so not a lot. Rent was listed at $1,800, so it met the 1% rule, which did cash flow for me on this property, even with interest rates, which were higher back then. The 1% rule still gave me a few $100s above the mortgage, taxes, and insurance to cash flow a deal like that. And then it's actually experienced some appreciation according to Zillow, where it's almost worth $100,000 more than I paid for it. And a lot of people were wondering if you could still do BRRRR deals in 2024, but that's just noise. That's just ourselves building excuses. Just like Ahmed said, he was building himself excuses. Man, when I first started in real estate investing, it was 8 years ago, and I had worked for somebody who had 5 rentals, and he showed me, hey, these things cash flowed and they've appreciated a whole lot. And I went looking for properties that would cash flow, and there were none. And I was like, man, so lucky that he bought those properties back in 2008. I wish I could have bought those, because then I'd be set for life and retired. Well, now I'm the person who's held properties for 8 years. And I've told you guys my first 9 rentals appreciated $1 million in just 4 years. And many of them I had with zero cash as a down payment because I did the BRRRR strategy. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. You can recycle that money you used to buy the property and fix it up on the next one, because you created such a great deal, it added equity, and you get all that cash back out with your refinance. So anyway, they appreciated $1 million in 9 years, and now people are in my comments saying, well, if I bought it 8 years ago, that would have been really great. But now it's 2024 and I can't do deals. So you just got to find a good deal in every single market. And I know I made that funny voice. I had that same comment, though, at the beginning. And that's why I think it's funny, because I used to say the same thing. So let me show you guys how real estate prices always go up, which you can validate by the Fred Real Estate Index, which covers the actual home prices. So this is the Federal Reserve Bank. And let's see here, National Home Price Index. I mean, look at this. Yeah, there's like some minute dips, but in the long run, it always goes up. And so that's why no matter what, you just have to find a deal that works so that it cash flows and pays for itself. You've got a fixed rate mortgage, and you've also got rent. Now, what do rents do over time? Let's see, Fred Rent Index. Let's see. Yeah, primary residence U.S. average of rent. Look at this graph. Even in 2008, it flatlined for a second, but it didn't even dip really. It always goes up even more steadily. It increased more than the actual value of the house itself. And so that's why if you get a deal that cash flows today, as time goes on, it's just going to become a sweeter and sweeter deal with the appreciation and the increase in rent. So hope that gives you guys some urgency to realize there's no point in waiting around for the right time to buy real estate. You got to buy real estate and wait. Or if you don't have the money and you don't want to build a rental portfolio, but you just want to do wholesaling, you can find a great deal in any market. So I'll leave you guys with that. Hope to see you guys on the next challenge, which is tomorrow or the next Thursday after that. Just Google DealMachine Cold Calling Challenge and sign up for free. I can't wait to see you guys on the live call.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.